Welcome to our course coaching center. Now today we are going the starting the chapter name is electromagnetic induction. देखो electromagnetic induction होता क्या है? Whenever the magnetic flux linked with an electric circuit and change an EMF induced in the circuit, the phenomena is called the electromagnetic induction. मतलब होता क्या है, जब भी कोई magnetic flux जो होता है ना, electric flux में change होता है या EMF induce होता है, उसी को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, electromagnetic induction. ओके अब देखो एक्सपेरिमेंट था हमारे फैराडे का और हेनरी जी का, इसका पूरा याद ही कर ले, क्योंकि एक्सपेरिमेंट जो होता है जल्दी याद ही करना चाहिए होता है, फिर भी समझाते हैं. देखो इसमें क्या कह रहा है. दिस फिगर शोज अ coil C1 and connected to a galvanometer G and with the north pole of the bar magnet and push resistor toward the coil. The point is in the galvanometer deflect and indicating the presence of electric current in the coil. The galvanometer does not any direction when the magnet is held stationary and when the magnet is pulled away from the coil, and the galvanometer shows the deflection in the opposite direction, which indicates the reversal of the current direction. Moreover, the south pole of the bar magnet is moved towards or away from the coil. Deflection in the galvanometer are opposite is that observed with the north pole for the similar movement. Further, the deflection is found to be larger when the magnet is pushed toward or pulled away from the coil instead. When the bar magnet is held fixed and the coil C1 is moved towards or away from the magnet, the same effects are observed. It shows that is the relative motion between the magnet and the coil, and that is responsible for the generation of the electric current in the coil. अब मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स क्या होता है? द नंबर ऑफ मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स लाइंस थ्रू बोलते हैं ना, लाइंस दैट ट्रेवल्स in a specific closed surface known as magnetic field. Okay, magnetic flux in offer a way to measure the total magnetic flux that transverse a specific surface, and in this case the area under the examination can be of any size, oriented and in any way relative to the magnetic field direction. It is denoted by psi b ba या ba cos theta, where psi b जो होता है मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स है, b जो है मैग्नेटिक फील्ड है, a जो है एरिया है, थीटा जो एंगल है. मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स इज यूजुअली मेजर्ड विथ अ फ्लक्स मीटर. ठीक है. SI यूनिट एंड CGS यूनिट इज मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स गिवन बिलो. SI यूनिट जो इसका है वो होता है वीबर, एंड फंडामेंटल यूनिट जो होता है इसका है वोल्ट पर सेकेंड, और CGS यूनिट जो है इसका मैक्सवेल है. इसको भी ध्यान रखना, ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, और ये लॉ तो एग्जाम पूछता है. उसके बाद हमारा फेराडे लॉ ऑफ इंडक्शन क्या होता है? फेराडे लॉ ऑफ इंडक्शन also known as the Faraday law is the basic law in electromagnetic which helps to predict how magnetic field would interact with an electric current circuit to the produce electromagnetic force EMF. This phenomena is known as the electromagnetic induction. Faraday law of electromagnetic induction states that the magnitude of the induced EMF in a circuit is equal to the time rate of change and of magnetic flux through a circuit. Mathematical induced EMF is given by E is equal to minus d phi by d theta, या d यहाँ पे d psi दे रखा है, बट वैसे वो भी होता है d phi. In the case of coil n terms induce the n d psi by dt, या लेंज लॉ. इसका क्या है? देखो लेंज लॉ क्या कहता है. The German physicist Heinrich Friedrich and Lenz introduced a rule known as the Lenz law that describes the polarity of induced EMF. Lenz law states that the polarity of induced EMF is such that it tends to produce a current, and which opposite the change in a magnetic flux and produce it. Application of Faraday law क्या होता है? The electrical equipment like transformer works on the basis of Faraday law. Induction cookers work on the basis of mutual induction, and which based on the principle of Faraday law. By the inducing an electromotive force into electromagnetic flow meter and the velocity of fluid recorded, the electric guitar and the electric violin are musical instrumental that find application of Faraday law. Maxwell equation is based on the converse of the Faraday's law, which states that a change in the magnetic field and bring a change in the electric field. Okay, अब आता है ये ईएमएफ क्या होता है, ये इलेक्ट्रोमोटिव, कहते हैं मोटिव इलेक्ट्रो फोर्स, ओके, मोशनल इलेक्ट्रोमोटिव फोर्स, ओके। Consider a straight line PQ as shown in the figure, moving in the rectangular loop PQR in a uniform and the time-dependent magnet and field B1 perpendicular to the plane of the system. Let us suppose the motion of the rod to be a uniform at a constant velocity v velocity per meter second and meter per second, and the surface to be frictionless. Thus, the rectangular PQRS forms a closed circuit enclosing a varying area due to the motion of the rod PQ. The magnetic flux psi b enclosed by the loop PQRS can be given as the psi b is equal to BLX. Okay. उसके बाद देखो यहाँ पे जो आर एक्स, यहाँ पे आर एक्स दिया गया, आर एक्स को एक्स मान लिया गया है, आर एक्स को आई भी मान लिया गया, मतलब रेक्टेंगुलर है तो वही सिंपल सी बात है। एंड द सिंस द मोटर इज गिविंग एक्स एंड द changing with the time, and thus the rate of change of flux psi b will induce an EMF is given by the E is equal to my d psi b by dt, and yes d minus d by dt BLX, okay, माइनस ई इज इक्वल टू माइनस बी एल डी एक्स बाई डी टी, या बी एल भी इसे कहते हैं, ओके। अब देखा जाए तो इंड्यूस ईएमएफ ड्यू टू द मोशन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक कंडक्टर इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स इज कॉल्ड एज द मोशनल ईएमएफ. EMF can be induced in two major ways: due to the motion of conductor in the presence of magnetic field, and due to the change in the magnetic flux enclosed by the circuit. AD current क्या होता है? AD current is defined as the induced current in a coil and when a magnetic flux is allowed to flow it. ठीक है, जब मतलब मैग्नेटिक फ्लक्स फ्लो करता है तो उस टाइम वहाँ पे एक करंट इंड्यूस होता है जिसे हम लोग एडी करंट कहते हैं, ठीक है। Eddy current are undesirable since they heat up the core and dissipate electric energy in the form of heat, and eddy current are minimized by the using lamination of metal to make a metal core. This arrangement reduce the strength of the eddy current. Eddy current are the advantage in the some applications such as magnetic braking in train, and electronic magnetics are situated above the rails in some electronic powertrain. When the electromagnets are activated, the eddy current induce and the rails oppose motion, okay, तब जाके ट्रेन जाके रुकता है आगे जाके। मैग्नेटिक इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक डैम्पिंग क्या होता है? देखो, सर्टेन गैल्वेनोमीटर हैव अ फिक्स्ड कोर मेड अप ऑफ नॉन मैग्नेटिक मेटालिक मटेरियल. When the coil oscillate and the eddy current generate in the core oppose the motion and the bring the coil to the rest quickly. इंडक्शन फर्नेस क्या होता है? चलो देखते हैं इंडक्शन फर्नेस क्या होता है। Induction furnace can be used to produce high temperature. A frequency alternating current is passed through a coil and that surround the metal to be melted. An eddy current generated in the metal and produce high temperature sufficient to melt them. Electric power meter and the shiny metal discs in the electric power meter and rotates due to the eddy current, and electric current are induced in the disc by the magnetic field produced by the sinusoidally and varying current in a coil. Inductance क्या होता है? Inductance is a tendency of electric conductor of to oppose the change in the current flowing and through the L is used to represent the inductance, and Henry is the SI unit of inductance. 1 Henry is defined as the amount of induction required produces an EMF of 1 volt in a conductor when the current is changed in the conductor in the rate of the 1 ampere per second. Factor affecting inductance: number of wire turns in the coil. Inductance is a greater when the number of turns of wire in the coil is greater. More coil of wire indicate the greater amount of magnetic field and force of given amount of coil current. Coil area क्या होता है? Inductance is proportional to the coil area. Coil area क्या होता है? Inductance is proportional to the coil area, and the greater the coil area and the greater the inductance and the greater coil area present less opposition in the formation oil and the magnetic field flux for a given amount of field force, okay. कॉइल मटेरियल क्या होता है? ग्रेटर द मैग्नेटिक permeability of the core to which the coil is wrapped around, and the greater the inductance. Coil length, the longer coil length and lesser the inductance, the shorter the coil's length and the greater inductance. टाइप्स ऑफ इंडक्शन दो टाइप होते हैं, सेल्फ एंड द म्यूचुअल। सेल्फ क्या होते हैं देखते हैं। व्हेन देयर इज अ चेंज इन द करंट ऑफ फ्लक्स ऑफ द कॉइल एंड इलेक्ट्रोमोटिव फोर्स इज इंड्यूस्ड एंड द फिनोमेना इज कॉल्ड सेल्फ induced, okay, inductance. In this case, flux linkage through a coil of n turns is proportional to the current through the coil is expressed as phi is equal to Li. यहाँ पे L क्या है? L is termed as the self inductance for the coil and or the coefficient of self inductance, and the self inductance depend on the cross sectional area and the permeability of the metal and the number of turns of the coil. The rate of change of magnetic flux in the coil is given as E is equal to minus d psi by dt and dl by dt. E is equal to L d I by dt. Self inductance formulas: L is equal to n psi by I, where L is the self inductance in the henries and n is the number of turns and psi is the magnetic flux and I is the current of the ampere. Okay, current in ampere. Mutual inductance क्या होता है? Consider two coils, P coils primary coils and the S coil secondary coil. A battery and the key are connected to the P coil, and whereas a galvanometer connected across the S coil. When there is a change in the current or magnetic flux linked with a two coil, and opposing the electromotive force is produced across each coil, and this phenomena is termed as the mutual inductance. Mathematically, psi is equal to mi. M is equal to mutual inductance of two coil, and rate of change of magnetic flux in the coil is given as E is equal to minus d psi by dt, या d minus d is equal to dmi by dt, या E is equal to minus mdi by dt. ओके, म्यूचुअल इंडक्टेंस फार्मूला जो होता है ये यहाँ पे ही रखा है, म्यू नॉट म्यू आर n1 n2 a बाय आई, वेयर म्यू नॉट जो होता है वो परमेबिलिटी इन फ्री स्पेस है, म्यू आर जो है रिलेटिव परमेबिलिटी है ऑफ सॉफ्ट आयरन कोर, और एन जो है नंबर ऑफ टर्न्स है, और ए जो है क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया इन अ मीटर स्क्वायर, या फिर एल आई जो है यहाँ पे एल जो है लेंथ ऑफ कॉइल इन मीटर। ओके, अब जानते हैं एसी जनरेटर क्या होता है। एसी An AC generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy, and it consists of coil mounted on a rotor shaft, and axial of the rotation of the coil is perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. The coil, called the armature, and is mechanically rotated in the uniform magnetic field by the someone external means. The rotation of the coil causes the magnetic flux through it to change, and so an EMF induced in the coil. The end of the coil are connected to the external circuit by the means of spring rings and the brushes. When the coil is rotated with the constant angular speed omega, the angle theta between the magnetic field vector B and vector A of the coil at any constant t is theta is equal to omega t. As a result, effective area of the coil exposed to the magnetic field and lines change with the time, and the flux at any time t is psi b is equal to ba cos theta, psi b is equal to ba cos omega t. Yeah, from Faraday law, the induced EMF rotating of the coil n times is equal to E is equal to minus d psi by dt, and the ns and dab d by dt, yeah, cos and omega t. Thus, instantaneous value of EMF is E is equal to NBA omega sin omega t. We denoted by NBA is as E naught. So E is equal to E naught sin omega t. Okay, direction of the current change periodically, and मतलब करंट का डायरेक्शन तो पीरियडिकली चेंज होता है, एंड देयर फोर द करंट इज अल्टरनेटिंग करंट। ठीक है ना, मतलब पीरियडिकली मतलब अपने आप बोलते हैं ना, अपने आप बढ़ता घटता रहता है, इस कारण से इसको हम लोग पीरियडिकली चेंज भी कहते हैं इसका। ठीक है ना, इसी को हम लोग बाद में एसी करंट के नाम से भी जानते हैं। बाय बाय एंड सी यू नेक्स्ट वीडियो, एंड थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग वीडियो एंड गाइस, बाय बाय एंड सी यू नेक्स्ट वीडियो।